vlog.
Recording is on.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bat Community Call for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. I hope you all are having a great week. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. Definitely a lot of meetings this week and kind of regrouping after being a consensus, but it was awesome. And yeah, I think as far as updates go from our side, I don't know if folks saw we made some tweets out about the Zcash Media pilot. We're able to increase their daily views by 27 or 2,750% on average daily views increase, which is pretty rad. Have a few more pilots we're getting ready to kick off too. And we've got a couple of the meme coin pilots wrapped up. So we haven't posted about those yet, but we will. A lot of interesting stuff coming up this summer. We'll be at Rare Evo in Vegas I think that's in August. And then a few other things in the hopper too. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. And been looking forward to this call to say hello to everybody. Yeah, is Jenny here yet?
Yeah, he's going to be on today. I think she's going to be traveling during the call. But let's see. Paula, are you going to stream the deck? Or?
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone. I'm going to be presenting today. Just give me a second, please.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got some. Yeah, there you go. Cool.
Okay, perfect. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So, hi, everyone. So another week for our Bat Community Update. And here are our weekly highlights. So last Friday, we did our space titled Web3 is More Than Tech with Jenny, Drew, Gutson, Guillermo as speakers, and of course the Unfungible team and some guests. And we have more spaces. So tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, we will have Pixel Moon and Bat with Luke. I don't know if Luke wants to say something about that.
Yeah, I'll be up at 6 a.m. Pacific time for that one. So you'll get me before I've had a bunch of frazzled meetings that day. So it'll be great.
Perfect. Thank you. Excited for that one. And next, this Friday, we're at 1 p.m. Eastern, our regular time. Our space titled Tokenizing Culture with the Bat Community team, MemeFi, Unagi, and Exterio. And then lastly, next Friday, the dark truth about onboarding with the Bat Community team, of course, OKX Web3, free name. I'm not sure if this is pronounced Havens Compass. I'm so sorry about that.
And I think you got it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry about my Spanish. I mean my English because of my Spanish language. And Mayong, I'm sorry again, Meta. And here we can see our social growth on X, comparing a 7-day summary and a 28-day summary of the stats or analytics we've been getting from the basic attention token account on X, thanks to the spaces we have been hosting on the main account, like I said, and our recent partnership with Unfungible. So we're very excited for these results. And I'll pass it on to Adam.
Hello. This week, Crypto Dojo Scott introduced Ross Turbo Levine. It's quite an interesting space because it was all about fighting rather than crypto, but he seemed to be quite interested in getting on board onto space. I myself was on a space with Mcoin, which is like M, like it's literally hashtag just M. Gave them the good hard shill on Brave and Bat. With the season 4, I've reviewed the application requests. Oh, the breakdown, bit of a grammar error there, but We've got USA had 9 new ambassadors recruiting, Brazil 5, Mexico 3, France 3, Nigeria 2, India 4, Canada, Turkey, Australia, South Africa, the Philippines, Australia, Scotland, UK, Kenya, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Austria, Germany, Argentina, and Japan. I'm excited to expand our global reach. Cheers, everyone.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Bat, for the update. So yes, this week I'm back again with my regular standard man update. Fun fact, actually, people like 1 billion people in Africa and like 54 countries, but it's actually just Stan. It's 54 Stan countries and 1.2 billion Stan. So this week, Standard Man was at KBCC, the Kenya Blockchain Crypto Conference, where he, it was an extravaganza, really. It was like a 2-day event. I'm gonna drop a link to like the organizers had like this thing where they took some of the like best pictures you have ever seen for a conference. So like implore everyone to go check it out. But yeah, Stan was there on both days. He got to meet some key people in the industry. So he, there's this thing where he tries to convert like specific, like key, people who, have Web3 companies and, organizers or, people who are just kind of like known in the space and that kind of thing. So he calls them key activations. So last week he got over 15, key activations, and some of those were leads. He got like 10 leads, but he said about 5 of them are, actually noteworthy. So those are ads leads, and we'll follow it up and see what comes out of it, and let you guys know as well. But also over the last week, we had 2 intro calls with some of the leads that we talked about last week. Agro app and BitMarkets. I believe Adam was there for the Agro app call, but not the BitMarkets one because it was like a bit off, time wise. But we had some good reception. We've been shopping around the deck that we kind of use to tell people what we are and what we can offer and that kind of stuff. We also had 2 calls with ambassadors. One was the prospective ambassador we're trying to convert in Morocco. Her name is Leila. She's like a very connected figure as well. I'll call her a key activation, like Stan does. So we'll let you know how that goes. And then we also brought back one of our older ambassadors, one of our older Nigerian ambassadors, Ademak, who has been around for a while but wasn't really doing too much. But recently started, doing some helping us with some leads and stuff. And he also wants to host an event meetup in his city in the western part of Nigeria. So a whole different city outside of where Alfred is. But we'll have to figure that out. Figure out the budget and stuff, and then when we execute on that, we'll also have some pictures for you guys. So Fund Bank is on like the final stretch. I sent off some information to the right people, and we'll get the campaign going, and then see how that works out. And then also, they reached out to us again over the week, talking about something called an activation campaign. Essentially, they want to go to Kampala, which is the capital of Uganda. So they want to take Stan the Man, of course. Like I said, all the countries are Stan's countries. So they want to take Stan to Uganda and do some local like in-person um, activation where this is like a thing they do where they try to get people to actually use some of the stuff in person as opposed to just kind of like posting about it online or something. So we'll um, we'll again figure out like the budget and stuff on that, and then we'll get you some updates as well. I have some more pictures from KBCC that I'm gonna give some context to. So on the left there is Stan standing next to Duncan, who is our contact at Funback, right? They just happened to both be at the same conference because, of course, it was a big conference. So they took that picture and sent it to us. On the right is some photogenic East African ladies that we just put up there for no specific reason. Next slide, please. So up there, you can see the flasks, the Brave flasks that we had printed. We had about 15 of these made, and then he essentially gave it to people who it was like his, oh, should I call it his opener? He would just be like, oh, hey, do you want a Brave flask? And then when you pick up the flask, they'd be like, whoa, okay, have you heard about Brave and da da da, and this is who we are, that kind of stuff. So there's a correlation between the 15 flasks and the 15 activations. So there's that, and then of course there are some other pictures from the speaking updates, and some like a picture up there, like just kind of showing the background and how many people were there. But you really have to go look at the pictures. I posted the link in chat, so go look at the pictures. There's like 100 pictures of some of the whole event. It was, I wasn't even there, and I just enjoyed looking at the pictures. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the African updates. I'll pass it off to Drew.
Good stuff, Scottson. It's great, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's because killing it out there. Stan the Man, Alfred, and those guys, man. So Scott Godson, of course. So we've been working with Bandits. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of quests coming up, and of course, in the future, more quests. But working with them on that, and hopefully soon we'll have something coming there. Maybe some opportunities to earn some bad or win some bad, things like that. And then, of course, we've had the new spaces going on. That's going to continue as well as trivia, the Jackbox, the normal stuff in the Discord that's going on every week. Thanks to the Dave and Dragon Dave, of course. And then as far as on-chain rewards, I think those should be rolling out here soon for the month, hopefully. I don't know if Luke has updates, but I think as far as adding new people, I think that's somewhat kind of on hold for a little bit while they sort things out, as far as I know. But yeah, I don't know if Luke has more on that. But other than that, I'll be out the rest of this week, hopefully on something that looks like this picture, but we'll see. So maybe a little slower for me this week, but otherwise, a lot going on in the background, a lot of partnership talks, ads, people want ads, people want to, do things in different ways. So we shall see. But yeah, that's, I think, all I had.
Awesome, man. Really quick too, like on that Bandit point. So we saw there was like there were some pilot testing we were doing with them with Astra and the Yukio stuff, and it basically converted really well. And so they came on to paid. So like one thing we've been working on, and Carlos has been driving a lot of this too from our team, is basically like a really cool like channel partner arrangement with Bandit, where like they keep onboarding new partners into quests. And so almost like how like Salesforce or other SaaS platforms will have like AWS credits, what we're trying to do with Bandit is make it so that like when they onboard new partners for quests and doing like white label questing, that they basically include Brave ads as part of that package. And so more to come on that front too, but it was pretty cool. Like a lot of stuff's been kind of getting ground out in the background with Bandit on that front, but the results that came back were really positive for the Astra campaign.
Thank you, Luke, and thanks, Drew. So I wanted to give a small update about our work localizing the self-serve ads and the process so far. So a couple of months ago, we started translating a file with different terms and sentences, or well, basically the content that you find in the platform once you start applying for a campaign, like all these user prompts or system messages that you get, like the user interaction with the platform. So yeah, we localized all that. And once we finished that, we started working on a glossary of 930 terms, including tech and crypto terms, of course, Brave-related terms, and basically keywords. So now the file and the glossary have been imported into the localization tool that we will be working on for both ads platform and the ads help center. So this tool basically will help us do the work, let's say, more efficiently, and make all the necessary server updates or changes there. Let's keep everything in one place. But yeah, we will work on that from now on, and I hope to share more updates soon. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I don't know if this is Godson's slide.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. So this is just like a quick. I just wanted to quickly sort of like bring up the stats on the spaces and the streams we've been doing. The unfungible spaces have been growing week to week, so that's kind of exciting. I know we are supporting it with like a little bit of ad flow here and there, but the last week space that we did, the one that Paula mentioned earlier, had a total 2,100 listeners. It was a very big stream. It was fun and exciting, which is like 4 times the the number of listeners that we had for like the week 2 space, which was I think 400 and some listeners. I want to say 470. And then week 1 was only like 230 people listened to it. So, the spaces are, kind of, growing a lot. The Unfungible partnership was a good idea. Shout out Luke, I believe.
Oh no, that was Drew, man. Drew made the link on that one. I just showed up for a phone call or two.
All right. Okay. Shout out Luke, I guess. Shout out Drew, my bad. Sorry. I
mean, seriously, but you all did an awesome job. I mean, like, people don't listen if it's not worth listening to. And, all I used to have to do is not show up. It's great. You guys are doing 910% over week 1, 2.1K. That's like, I mean, what were we averaging before? It was under 200, right?
Yeah, we used to average like 120. Like, I think that was the high. Even we like most of our spaces had like 70 listeners, 50, 60. So yeah, we're doing
massive.
Yes, and then the streams. So last week we streamed from 4 accounts. So the 2 bat accounts, my account on Twitter, and then also Belladone's account, and then across all 4 of those accounts, we had about 2,800 views, which is about 20% higher than we did the week before, which was like 2,300 views or something like that. So again, we're seeing growth, and that that's nice. But we have to find ways to continually grow. And what's the Japanese saying? Kaizen, continuous improvement. So we're gonna find a way again to hopefully grow it more next week.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. That's a great set of updates. I think it's really awesome to see the numbers going in the right direction on the spaces. And like I think it's something like, let's take a few minutes here and kind of like break down. Like we're doing a bunch of things in the background right now to kind of continue to get momentum going. And there's obviously like some stuff on the research side with Boomerang we can be doing more on. And I think like with on-chain stuff happening and growth and hitting those numbers has been huge. But I think also we're at a time where like I saw an article, it was a week or two ago, where like 5,300 new tokens are being created a day on Solana on average, just on that single blockchain. So, there's a really like a ton of new tokens flooding the market, which means we need to be more relevant than ever, right? And so we're working on a few things like in the background where we can kind of leverage the ad platform and helping to grow talent that can also, insert Brave and Bat into things and, keep the momentum going there and making some ground there that I'll be excited to share in the coming weeks ahead. But I think that, these things didn't happen just kind of out of thin air either. I think there's been a big collective effort from everybody here. And then folks too on the, we've been working with some pretty cool projects on these pilot tests we've been doing, and tweeting that stuff out had an impact and led to a bunch of things that are helping us to get things moving in that direction. But I just want everybody to know, I mean, like there's a reason, like we're doing a ton like behind the scenes to kind of keep the momentum going, especially going into the summer. And the more we can kind of get, the track laid down for things as they start to warm back up for alts, like the better off we'll be. So we're putting a real concerted effort across the team to like, with everybody on this call and beyond that too, to kind of keep the momentum going. So anyway, I think I'll just open it up for questions at this point, unless anybody on the call wants to dive deep into anything and, pick up cover any topics or anything.
Well, if not, I have a question for you, Luke.
Yeah, Bals, what's up, man?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just working hard, like always,
Yeah, no doubt.
I like what Drew said. The Bows team.
The Bows team, I love it.
Don't worry about son. I'm gonna try to keep from asking you any hard questions. I'll just stick them with Luke.
Yeah.
But anyway, this one shouldn't be too hard. Have you had any outside parties like express interest in Boomerang, like for like actually integrating it and using it?
Yeah, we've been in a bunch of calls recently where it's come up, like more corp dev type calls where we've been talking about the technology that we have. It's kind of great because right now there's like a bunch of different things happening with AI and then with crypto too. And a lot of problems are surfacing that are kind of bringing attention to privacy. And it's giving us opportunity to like point to the research that we're doing. So I think there's a few things like where we're in a position now, like this is what I'm talking about with the pilot stuff, where we can show that we're driving people to things and that the text working under the underlying text working, and that Bat's kind of like pretty well distributed out there. So we're having discussions with other, like with dApps, games, other types of services where one, they could start to incorporate Bat in what they're doing. And then two, like kind of addressing Boomerang. It's all been pretty high level so far, but I think that's kind of how these discussions start. And having that paper as an example to point to has been super helpful. I think we could probably do well by having an update on that project in particular, and maybe going into more detail around, I did the research paper, which is kind of buried in the blog post. It has several different use cases, but I think what could be really interesting is if we kind of developed some of those out a little more in even just talking about them in some blog posts to help shine a light on it. For example, too, like there are a few, the fun thing about this meme coin pilot is that the memes coins we've been working with have also been doing other types of projects that, I mean, like they've been doing things like with their meme coins that are actually like real, like Bonkmark and other things like that have led to other dApps reaching out about doing pilots. So like I was speaking with one dApp that is doing kind of a fitness oriented application, kind of like Steppen. And we're in super high level talks with them right now about like, things we could do together. But health data is like a really I mean, it's going to be more and more of a pressing thing. And once people start talking about doing stuff on chain with health data, I think like stuff like Boomerang's like really useful for those use cases where, you know, companies are kind of now understanding that, like, look, in a world where you can't really trust everybody, like, you know, maybe if there's ways that we can attest to things without having to collect data on our users, or there's ways to like do that very privately, like Boomerang and things like this will help to kind of like make a better choice for them so that they don't have to live with the liability of holding on to user data and like, or having partners hold on to it, which is even kind of worse. So anyway, like stuff's been pretty high level. We're going to go harder out there on it, but I think a lot of it's also been around kind of like focusing on kind of getting the reward stuff out and getting the ground laid for some of these conversations to happen. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You know, part of the reason I asked is because I guess because I've read like academic papers and stuff like that before, and you know, sometimes it's kind of like, I know people have it sometimes a tendency to get excited about stuff they read on, but you know, it can sometimes be a long time or never before you really see it come live in our areas. So I mean, it's just good to hear that there's parties like actively talking with y'all about, even if it is just at a high level.
Yeah, and I think like what's been nice about that paper in particular that stood out was that like the benchmarking's in there, they really kind of look at it from like a full view of like cost basis, performance benchmarking, and then even down to like having a repo for it. Like, and I think, you know, we used to get the SDK question a lot, but I think that something like Boomerang is like really the way to kind of branch out beyond the Brave browser. And I think now like is a good time for these things to get picked up, because I don't know. I mean, if you look at what's coming out in the news, like you've got these announcements with like Apple and OpenAI and like all these other things, and people talking about privacy implications all over the place. Like it's definitely a different environment than it was a few years ago, where people were kind of like, who cares? I think that, you know, people have to start caring now. And so the fact that the team's got some academic, you know, gusto behind it, I think it'd be a great time for us to kind of pick up the baton and doing more work around that, and like expressing more about the work publicly. I think be a good time for that too. Good question. All right. Who else has questions? Anybody or anything you guys want to talk about?
I guess it kind of relates to Stan's poll. Is there any word on when I believe the terms the RPCs are getting updated on the Solana side of the Brave wallet?
Yeah, they're working on it right now. I've been seeing some chatter happening. I'm gonna see if anybody here is from
Hey,
the
this is James. Yeah.
James, hey, what's up, man?
Hey. So it's still in privacy review right now. It just needs a final sign off from a couple people, and then we should be able to get it in. Yeah. The reason that it's been failing quite a bit is our current provider doesn't use stake weighted validator nodes. So it's you know, like you've got these nodes that are holding lots of Solana stake, and so have a bit more voting rights, and so the transactions will go through successfully and more often. So yeah, we're just waiting on final sign off, and it should be fixed soon. But I would say also we've fixed some issues with token extensions. So there's, you know, various meme coins that are using token extensions on Solana, and those were not showing up in the portfolio before, but those are now working on nightly.
Awesome.
So I just had to put my wallet in nightly to make it a little bit nicer. That's good to hear. But also fantastic news. I'm really glad to hear that it just needs signing off on.
Yeah, and I think we were hearing that they were seeing some good results with some testing too, early on with that, which was great. You got a question, Battern, from Mr. Bows in the chat. When can we expect to meet some of the new ambassadors?
Well, we're at the point where we're sending out the email to invite them all for a one-on-one chat with me and Jenny. So probably as soon as some of them answer the call, probably within the next week or so, I'd say.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say like next month or something, but all right.
No, it moves slowly, but when it starts moving, it moves.
Slowly then all at once.
Yes.
Cool. And James, since we have you here, I don't mind if I pick on you one more time. Like, is there anything else with Wallet that folks might be interested to hear about that you guys have got going behind the scenes or landing anytime soon?
I mean, we hope to land the shielded Zcash support soon. That's scheduled for the summer, so that's in the works.
Nice.
We just did a bunch of updates to the token, like these token selection modals. I don't know what else to how else to describe them. So when you're in like going to send something through the wallet, you pick the asset to send. That's all been revamped, completely new UI UX, and should be a bit better for people, especially like on the swap side. Um, there was sort of a gap before where you couldn't really find quotes if you didn't own the token. So now we've made it possible to do quotes against token pairs that you may not own. It's also a nightly.
Awesome. That's great. Cool. What else, folks?
Oh, sorry. One more thing. So
Yeah.
We're also we've also had to. We've introduced paid pagination and the NFT support. Just to maintain sort of like security. We do something called utilize something called a Chrome and trusted frame, and so this was an issue before where like users that had lots and lots of NFTs, like so you had like 100 NFTs. They're all individually loaded in small iframes that are sort of like protected against being able to access other parts of your browser. In any event where like maybe a malicious SVG was seeping through, but so this has been addressed by sort of like revamping the way that NFT page works. So it should also be a nightly, but that should fix a lot of issues that we heard, where like anyone who had several NFTs was, noticing like the UI was feeling pretty sluggish. So that should be fixed. And then we're also working on compressed NFT support. This is, probably a little, long time coming, but compressed NFTs are something that are pretty popular if you like, on drips or getting like NFTs through Solana. So that should be landing if it's not already most parts of that, but the rest should be landing in nightly pretty soon. So nightly's pretty beefed up right now. I'd say if you haven't taken a look at it, it's a good place to get a good view of the wallet.
Fantastic. It's awesome. Trevor's got a hand up. If you have a question, Trevor.
Oh, sorry. I was double muted.
No worries.
Hey, have you seen any physical advertisements for Mulvad? It's a VPN/browser company.
I saw some. I didn't see any physically in person, but I believe I saw some pictures that somebody had posted of some Mulvad signage, either on a train or somewhere.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
in New York.
I live in the DC area, and their ads are plastered everywhere in the metro. And then I actually went to Copenhagen, Denmark 2 weeks ago. I saw advertisements there as well. So clearly they've got quite a bit of money thrown around. But at first I thought they were just a VPN service, but it turns out they also offer a browser. And like their main push is like privacy of data, right? And from what I can tell, I don't know, it just feels like they're not providing a very unique service comparatively to what Brave already is offering in terms of robust fingerprint protection and all that. So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts about them. But
No, I think
someone is putting a lot of money.
Well, in their case too, I mean, like, I think, competition is fantastic. Like, it's one of those things where the more you've got people thinking about privacy, like the more we can talk about what we're doing with privacy. And I think that, it's great to see Mulvad and like even other services like Proton and other services in the space that are privacy focused getting more and more coverage. And I think, it's one of those things where the privacy situation is so bad that seeing more startups around this is actually great, and more competing products. And we're happy to compete, on the playing field with everybody. Right. And so it's awesome, like from my point of view. And plus it's just like, you have competitors in the market, and you can see like where, you get ideas. You also see where others are having similar issues, and things like that. There's no fun in just being the lonely island out there. And not that we always were, but just that it's great to see the more we see competing privacy products standing up, the more that the thesis, around people wanting privacy is just kind of like cemented in the market.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. No, it's great feedback. Let's see here. Any other questions from folks? Anybody?
So, what more ideas do you have for the use case of BAT and Boomerang in the space? Like, I know you were very bullish on it on the timeline, but I thought you can always be more eloquent in person.
I mean, I think, there's all these rewards cases where, I mean, people were throwing, even back in like 2017, people were throwing around like different use cases for data and earning with your data. Like, there's such a need around having good privacy and accountability. And I think that, the use case we've been able to stand up in Brave is one that shouldn't be limited to Brave. And so, whether it's accounting for advertising or the other cases in there around like, similar to like a fitness app or, things that have sensitive data involved, like other things like that. Like, the use cases are just like all over the place. And I think that what we've been able to do is bad is to show that, like, I mean, I can go look, our retention numbers around rewards users are like significantly higher than, standard retention, which is not bad either. And I think that, the more we can prove this out to the market, the more that others will start to notice it. And it's just going to be, it would be great to get some more use cases in market. But I think that, first step is to kind of put the case out there, and show that it's done. But I also think that you're seeing like a lot of additional complexity out there with like, L2s and other solutions that are talking about zero knowledge and starting to, I mean, there's airdrops today for ZK Sync, for example, and others. There's going to be a lot of talk around this. And I think like, it's also kind of like, this space is so early that you're seeing people saying a lot of things about privacy that are just kind of cringe too, where, I don't know, like I was in a space a while ago where it was all about privacy and it had all these like different companies that were working on privacy talking. And it was like, what are you guys even saying? Like, some of these things are pretty early and rough around the edges. And I think like one thing that I love about us having this work out there is that, Brave set such a bar, like such a standard on like where we really see privacy as being in the market, like with having user first software and like, software that doesn't, leak your info out by default, like that. If we're able to release things that are distributable, that can, attest for things and have that level of care in them, it's gonna make an impact. I mean, we're already seeing it with. It's almost like, it's really interesting because this answer engine with search is like one of those things where we're putting something out there that has privacy, but like it's also functionally awesome, and like something where like someone might just be using this because it's like works well, like over the fact that it has the privacy part is great, but it's like something that's just there. And I think that like with Boomerang and things like this, it's like people want to use useful things, like, and if they can use useful things that have privacy, like maybe they're not moving to it because it has privacy, maybe it's because it's a great app, and then it has this privacy thing that's more of a benefit even to the developers longer term. I mean, it's a benefit to the users, of course, but I think we're just now starting to see, I mean, there's whole services that are out there that basically are just telling you when your stuff's been breached. And it's just like, nobody is like going to end up like having any kind of like perfect cleanly, account anymore after a certain period of time. Like everybody's going to be involved in some breach. And there's even services out there that people are paying for that notify them when this stuff happens. That's how pervasive it is. Right. And so I think that, being there early is great. Like, we could definitely do more about communicating it and like, and working more on this. But I think it's also kind of like sometimes apps will come to you, like, and sometimes when people find out about it, like, you get inbound around that, which I think is kind of where we're at now.
So, like, I might be misunderstanding it, and maybe for the people who are listening in who don't want to get weighed down, it's like the Boomerang that basically lets you, with Brave in particular, it gives you the reward in exchange for data, but it does it in like without
not even in
keeping privacy.
Well, like let's say like here's a really easy example, right? Like I mean, there's stuff that people, let's say like blockchain gaming, right? Like Web3 gaming, where you're doing stuff in the game, you're getting rewards on chain, right? But like, does everybody want to have their wallet broadcasted? Like there's
no,
right, exactly, right? Like there's some stuff in Web3 where people very much want to broadcast it, right? You go finish a quest and then there's a step to tweet it out. Like that's something where somebody is like going down the journey and saying, cool, I'm cool with myself putting myself out there, that I did something on chain. That's one bucket. But then there's a whole other set of use cases, right? Like the gaming one where I just want to play a game and earn something. Like, well, Brave has figured out how to make it so that you can browse the web, view ads, and earn something without having to, like, Brave doesn't even know who you are, right? And so taking that and basically like open sourcing it so that gaming companies could use that for in-game rewards, like other apps that people want to have privacy in, but also still want to be participating in and earning from, like, the sky's the limit on use cases for that, right? Like, I think people conflate stuff. It's kind of like a similar thing to with like social media where people were like, oh, this generation puts our whole life online. Why are they going to care? And then you're like, well, they're not putting their DMs out there, right? Like, it's a similar thing with Web3 where like people will kind of say, well, it's all on chain. So duh, dummy, like you don't have privacy. And it's like, well, no, that's not like the real world. Like the real world, people still want privacy, and they want to do stuff on chain, right?
In the real world, like I've got a load of wallets that are just off chain, which are just which I took off KuCoin when it wasn't KYC'd, but it'd be much nicer. It'd be much nicer to have a way around it,
Exactly. Like, and there, that is where.
So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
is this going to be like BAT be the gas kind of for this thing?
Well, like the way that it works, like it can, I think BAT as an example of the reward token, it can be used for that purpose. I mean, like part of this is kind of like you put the paper in market, and then, developers can figure out how they want to utilize BAT with this. There's a rewards example that's really easy there, but perhaps there's other ways that this could be done as well, where, BAT could be used to attribute a piece in the funnel, like that isn't necessarily a reward. Maybe it's like a check-in. Maybe it says somebody's holding BAT. It could be a bunch of different things. I mean, I think part of what's interesting about this, and the part of what's interesting about BAT being so distributed in the market, is that we see things happen in secondary markets that we didn't anticipate, like BAT getting into DeFi in 2019. Like our white paper wasn't talking about DeFi. They just adopted it, right? Like if there's ways where people can like adopt stuff like Boomerang and then apply different use cases for BAT that we haven't thought about, that's awesome, right? Like that's what the market's for. But I think what that paper does, like BAT is used as a kind of a reward element in there. But also like the underlying privacy tech that's involved with Boomerang is like pretty robust too, to where like, you know, people could adapt BAT to be used in different ways with those use cases. So earn BAT, but also like other stuff.
Other stuff's always fun.
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, yeah. Any other questions from people?
When's the next thing going to happen with Sages?
With
or
what?
any with the bad NFTs?
The Sages, you said?
Yes.
Speaking of that, and speaking of Bandit earlier, I believe they've updated their end, so the Sage burn should be working. I may have to go find the link or whatever, but that should be working for anybody that's looking to burn for the Sages again. Because I know they were updating their website on the back end. I think it wasn't working for a little while, but it should be working now. As far as what else is going on with that, I guess I don't know, Luke, if you have anything else to share on that end. Always looking for ways to utilize it.
Yeah, so I think like we're still on the premium side, we're still working on getting the pay with BAT stuff in. Like our partner Radon there just added Solana like support and you know, which will add the SPO BAT stuff. And I think like after we get the premium stuff purchasable with crypto, we'll do more with the tokens with the NFT stuff with that in that order basically. And also, like, we got an update from our web team that they are continuing, like, they spec'd out crypto payments on the merch store, and they're scheduling out that work. So, progress on that front too. Any other questions from people? Yep. C-Ray.
Hey, actually, I did have some people asking about creators. There are people who have had balances for a while, and with on-chain being available, I guess they cannot transfer their balance over to on-chain. It's still requiring a custodial partner. Are we ever planning on changing that, or how's that going to work as far as them getting any old balances out?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't know if anybody's here on creators or rewards and has a good answer on that. Otherwise, I can go get one and come back with it. But I mean, obviously, like we want everything to go on chain. I'm not sure about balance transfers and things like that. Like what the roadmap is on that. But let me find out and report back to you on that next week, unless somebody here has a better sense of when that's happening.
All right, I appreciate it. And I guess other thing, a long time ago, we talked about playlist and being able to have things like on creators and everything. Do we have any updates on that overall?
Yeah, I think they're still working on getting playlists shipped on Android, and then you know once it's out on all the platforms, we'll dig more into like ways that we can work creators and things like that into it. But I know that they had to like completely like rework a lot of the stuff on mobile there for Android in particular recently, and they're pretty close on that. Crippled Resistance, you have a hand up.
So when I know what you were, but when will we be able to go on the gaming system or something like that, or like the other TV system? I think that would be a really easy way to show off the ad blocking, because like a lot of people use use their system to go to YouTube or whatever. And on those systems, you are inundated with ads, and I think that would be a really easy way to show off the power of Brave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree on that either. I think, you know, we've done some experimenting with this with connected TV. It's something we'd love to do. I think it's more a matter of like when. But I definitely hear you. And like I think for what it's worth, I mean, like our when we poll the users base on this stuff, like one of the standout stats that we see is like a very large percentage of Brave users are cord cutters. And I'm in that category too. I think we cut cable at my house like a long time ago. But yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think one area where things that progress has been made too is that some of the Chromecast features have been optimized on mobile recently. I think that stuff's either in nightly or it's shipping its way down down to the release channels. But I think these things will help too. But I hear you. Like I think it would be rad. Like it is just. I noticed this too when I was running Hulu through Brave when I was at a hotel recently, and I had wired it up through the TV and from my laptop, and like I didn't realize that. Oh yeah, you know, like when I watch this in Brave, like the ads go away, and the ad breaks on like connected TV apps are so horrible that you know I think there's a lot to what you're saying there. I'm not sure what timeline is, but I agree. I think it'd be a great area to get in. I'd love to do an operating system. I'd love for us to do a connected TV. Like I love for Brave to be everywhere. You know, I think a lot comes down to like, you know.
Well, I don't mean to bother you. I'm sorry. I think it would also help out with the younger generation. Like, I have a daughter, and she's like, what the hell is crypto? And she's like, nobody in high school knows about this stuff either, or very rare. And she's like, nobody talks about it or anything. And it just amazes me because teenagers are usually hip. So, so I think the gaming area, the gaming system area, or whatever, would be a good intro for Brave.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like, you know, we're even our sales team's working on a lot of relationships around that. Like, you know, we've been running some new tab ads around gaming, and the performance is pretty well. I think gaming is definitely like a good fit. I had a call last week with so I won't disclose who it is, but like around like they're like a studio basically that's working on a bunch of different things around gaming that's based in the browser and things like that. Gaming's a great thing. I mean, like especially, I mean, getting beyond the browser with gaming would be awesome, but even in the browser too, gaming users are retained users, right? Like, which is super strong for us. But I totally hear you. I think it would be good. And I also think too that like as retail re-enters into crypto, when conditions get to where they're re-entering, I think a lot of this stuff people will pay more attention to it anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I saw there were a couple hands up too from other folks if they want to chime in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I take pride. You know, we have Disney Plus and Netflix and everything, but I take pride in going to those like free movie websites and then playing the movie on there anyway, and then Apple AirPlay streaming it to my TV. Something about that is just like extra. A movie is just much more enjoyable when you're not paying for it. That's just me. But that's just me, you know. So you don't even need to like have like a some sort of like specific integration or whatever. You could just like AirPlay stuff to the TV, and you know not have to deal with ads on like the YouTube app or whatever, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, there's also like I don't know, it's something with human nature where people will always try to find the way to get around the ads too. And there's something benefited that. Drew, you have a hand up.
Yeah. Well, I guess also C-Ray was asking if we mentioned anything about the on-chain rewards. It looks like everything's been paid out except for the on-chain stuff. So I don't know if you have any updates on that. But also, I was going to mention that for anybody that's going to Bitcoin Nashville at the end of July, I think there's a karate combat event during there. There's also going to be a Pizza DAO event that they're looking for maybe some brave folks to be at. So if anybody's going to that, let us know, or wanting to go, let us know. Yeah, I got you, Bounce. You're one of the main people I was targeting for on that one. But also, yeah, other than the on-chain rewards, Luke, I was going to ask, and I don't know if we talked about it last week, but right at the end of last month, I think while we were in Austin, Brave had announced their testing phase of the search ads, and that being kind of released or getting out of testing phase. Anything, I guess, coming from that, and or what does that mean for Brave and BAT, I guess, going forward?
Yeah. So on the on-chain payment, so I got an update from Jackson on our team on that earlier this week that they're working on this round. They're having to do, because it's before we've switched the providers, like the RPC provider, so they're having to do some more of the batching this time like they did last time. So it's taking a little bit longer this time, but he said they did some initial testing with the new provider and the stuff's looking better. So hopefully not this month, but next month it should be really smooth. But this month they're still working on it. So that's the update that I got on that side of it. With the search ad stuff for rewards users, I know that they've been working on some UI elements for that in the Brave Rewards panel that are starting to kind of make their way in. I think that I'm going to hold on commenting more on that until maybe I can get Chris on to talk through some of the details on that side because I don't want to mess it up. But there's a bunch of work going in on including search ads into that view, and then rewards, enabling the ads for rewards users, et cetera, and some other things like that. So I'll update on that. I think probably next week.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, I just I was curious if I guess since the testing phase is over, does that change much on that end, I guess?
Yeah, well, I think part of that announcement too was around opening it up to more regions too, for search ads. So there's just like a couple of different things happening. Like one is to kind of get into more markets, and then two is to start to open it up for rewards users too, because I think it would be good for everybody involved. So I don't want to keep the cat out of the bag on anything incorrectly. So I'm gonna hold my tongue on the rest of that one.
All good. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No worries. And then Bows, I'm not sure if I'm going to Nashville or not. It depends. I have a family vacation that might be conflicting with that week. So in that event, I'm gonna.
It's possible I might have the same issue. So
these things they schedule them. I think Breakpoint was during Halloween one year, and then they do this stuff in the middle of summer. But
we'll they're having karate combat on Father's Day or like Father's Day weekend too. Weekend. Like I was like, come on, guys.
We will be at the Rare Evo conference in Vegas, which I think there was some drama this week with or last week with Charles Hoskins and the Bankless guys about it. But we'll be there in Vegas in August at that event too. So if anybody's going to be in Vegas in August, we'll see you there. C-Ray, I think you got a hand up. We got time for
I'll flip it in one quick one. When we talked about search ads, do you know if those search ads are going to appear for people that's opted in, even if they had shields up, or are they going to have to know to turn off shields in order for them to show?
They will display for people with shields up. They will not display for people with shields up in aggressive mode.
Alrighty, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. We're right at time. So thank you, everybody, for great set of updates this week. And we'll be back same bat time, same bat channel next week. Until then, have a good one. Thank you all. Paola did a great job in Jenny's absence too, like leading the slide deck. Appreciated. Yeah, have a good one, y'all.
Thank you, Luke. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, Marshall.
Good job, guys. Stay bravey, baby.
Stay bravey, baby.
Beat you to it.
Woo!
Ah!
Baby.